Hi, this is Vince Gilligan, executive producer of Breaking Bad.
Hi, this is Betsy Brandt. I play Marie Schrader.
Hi, this is George Mastras. I'm a writer of the episode. I co-wrote this episode along with another writer on our staff, Peter Gould.
And this is Mike Slovis. I was the director of this episode.
And our wonderful director of photography as well. Not on this one, but on every other episode.
Just about.
Yeah. And Mike, you're joining us from New York.
Indeed.
This is. I love how we can do this. It's like the magic of technology. Betsy and George and I are in L.A. and Mike's in New York. So Mike and George, tell us about this great teaser.
Chicken, love it.
That was a really interesting shot to do. We used a brand new technology to record the chicken and the meth falling there, and we shot that at a bunch of different frame rates, 1,000 frames a second and 2,000 frames a second, and then the post-production people decided what it was that they liked best, and took it from there.
Is that video or film, Mike?
That's a really interesting point. Normally our show is shot 100% on film, and that shot was shot on video, a new high-speed technology video camera that was actually able to let us see what we were doing instantly as we were dumping those items down through a chute.
Nice. So how many times, how nasty did that chicken get dumping through the air over and over, take after take?
They had so much chicken there. It was incredible. They had just barrels of it because they kept on, because once you dump it, it's like it crumbles and you can't redump it. So.
Right, and we don't want the broken bits falling through, so we cleaned it up, and we basically did that, George, all day, right? I mean,
because they really had to get it was really tough to get the chicken dump right because, as you said, you don't want the little bits, and there was a screen to prevent little pieces, and so we'd review it, and it'd be like, well, there's just too many little pieces. You want the big chunks, and so it was definitely a project.
And in real time, each of those dumps only took about a second or a second and a quarter. And we'd play it back and stretch it out to about 20 seconds.
Man,
right.
That's cool. Talk about bad smells. Talk about how bad this place smells where you guys are shooting the chicken factory here.
It smells like chicken crap. Yeah, ammonia everywhere, especially after it rains.
Oh, nice.
Baked in the heat yet.
Because that's a closed down. That used to be, the folks who own it are very, very nice and been very hospitable to us. And but that is on the southern edge of Albuquerque, and it used to be a chicken breeding or I guess egg laying.
An egg processing plant.
That's what it was. It was an egg processing plant, but it's sort of mostly closed down now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. I mean, it's in a worn sort of way. It's for
creepy.
artwork.
It's very
beautiful.
creepy, which is.
It's closed down, but it still has the smell?
Has the smell. I think that just years of dumping chicken dung. I don't know if dung is the right word, but.
I think that's inappropriate.
Next to it, and it just the smell
scat? Or is that a hunting term? I don't know. So here we have the lovely Bryan Cranston and the even lovelier Aaron Paul. And
Brian in his most comfortable state there in his underwear.
We keep writing him to keep his pants on, but he keeps taking them off. It's weird.
Even during readings and everything. Come on, man.
So what was it like? Mike, directing these guys?
Well, it was wonderful. It was the first episode I directed there, and I was welcomed into the acting family very warmly. It was great.
It's nice to have you.
It was great. I mean, this was an especially interesting episode because so many season arc turns happened, and I think it was very fortuitous that I did it because I know the actors so well, and they were very trusting of me, and it was just a great experience.
Wow, you did a great job, man. This is and George, you and Peter Gould, the other wonderful writer who co-wrote this with you, who is not here today, did such a good job writing this thing.
Oh, thanks. It was a pleasure, and like Mike said, I felt like the episode, it really gave all the actors a chance to shine in different ways. I mean, and that really came through, and Mike's directing of the actors really came through.
And you're covering this. All of you guys write more than one episode, but you're covering this one in particular today because you were on the set for a lot of this particular shoot. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
So you were watching. This is this Super Lab, by the way. What an amazing set.
It's
I
beautiful.
love that thing. Just Mark Freeborn and W. Gilpin are great production designer and great construction coordinator, and their crews did a wonderful job building that thing. That is a completely built set on a soundstage in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it looks like absolutely like a real chemical facility. Just really wonderfully done.
And that brings up a good point as well, Vince. I think that this show especially, there's a unique partnership between the writers and the directors that happens on the set, and the actors as well. I mean, it takes all of us to sort of, really pull everything out of each of the script. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to work.
It is. It's so. It's such a collaboration. As our movies and television. It's a wonderful art form because it's so. You have the best people in the world. You find the best people you can, and in our case, and I'm biased, of course, but we got the best damn crew in the business, and you find all these wonderful people, and you put them together, and it's what's that expression when the pieces are actually the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. It's synergistic, I guess. It's just with the wonderful acting and the wonderful writing and directing
And unique to our show. I mean, this scene that we're looking at right now is a great example where two people are speaking, but everyone's working. And you can see reactions to the complex story from everyone here.
That's true. And speaking of which, there's the lovely Betsy Brandt.
And beautiful.
And beautiful.
Wearing purple.
And purple. What's with the purple?
Marie loves purple. When Vince gave us our colors, Vince and Kathleen DeToro, our costume designer, who I think one of her superpowers is working with color, and they came up with an idea that we, every character would have their color, and the color might change and evolve. Marie's color has stayed purple, and I told Vince I think that Marie does very little half-assed, and if she likes purple, then she really, really likes purple.
That's true. She does nothing half-assed. If she showed up dressed all in yellow one day, we'd have known.
Things have gone south.
She had a stroke.
Something's crazy.
Then you'd be checking her pupils to see if they're both the same size.
up.
Yeah. We should do that. That's good. I like that.
It's funny though. A few people they're like, I didn't notice that your character wears purple. I'm like, a little bit. She likes purple.
And did Steve rock it in this scene? I mean, he just was amazing.
Yeah. Stephen Michael Quezada, who plays Agent Gomez, Hank's partner, did a wonderful job.
Oh, and as well as Dean.
Dean's okay.
Yeah.
What's it like working with Dean, Betsy?
There are not words to describe what it is like to work with Dean Norris. Sometimes, I just look at Dean when he says something that might surprise some people, and I just say, it is my honor and my pleasure to play your wife on television. It's great. I love him. If I was any more flattering about Dean, I feel like rumors would start flying, and then, Bridget would kick my bottom. And she could totally take me. Even though I'm scrappy, she could totally take me.
That's a fight I would personally pay to see.
No mud, though. We wouldn't do it with mud. We're classy.
I don't
We're
even care
ladies.
who wins. I would just pay to see that.
It's great. I had so much fun working with Dean, especially this season, because he just had such great material, and he's so good in it. It really is just so great to get to play opposite him.
Yeah, he's great. All you guys are. They got the best cast on TV.
But it's the whole group, and I know we're all saying this, but it's so true. And I feel like people probably say that when it's not true. But I feel like every day I go to work, we're all showing up and trying to make the best show that we can, and it's really great to be a part of that.
And as great as the show is, it's even more fun to make it.
I think so,
It really
too.
is.
I think so too.
Hey, speak to where this is. Actually, this is supposed to be in a hospital parking lot. Right?
Indeed, but it's the parking lot outside of our soundstage.
Yeah.
Right behind, and we did everything we could to avoid seeing the buildings, although you can see a little bit in the upper left-hand side there.
Is that the mill building, or is that
is the mill building?
Yeah,
indeed.
that's where they W. Gilpin and his crew make cut all the wood and hammer all the nails and build all the flats and stuff like that. And then you get this high and wide shot coming up that I love, and it's a beautiful shot. Did you go up on a big cherry picker or something for this thing coming up?
We did indeed. We went up on a cherry picker to sort of express the loneliness at that point.
And cherry picker's not built for putting a camera on, so you guys and we don't have the money always to get like a Titan crane or some purpose-built thing. So
There we go.
Yeah. So how do you keep the thing from rocking? You just stand very still on it?
You wait for the winds to die down and then you go.
And it was windy that day, I recall. Windy
Exactly.
And
And we've done this a lot. I mean, we had in season 2, we had that high wide in the desert, and we had to wait as well.
Right. Mr. Paul. Oh, I love this actor.
Oh, me too.
I love Jerry Burns. I love this guy. He is so good. I remember him from years ago on a sitcom called Dear John with Judd Hirsch, and he's this guy. This guy's like Brian. This is a guy who's been around and done it all and can do anything. This guy can do comedy, drama, anything in between.
Didn't you have a sitcom with Hope Davis?
Yeah, did he?
That's what I remember.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. And he's a very wonderful guy, and he just, the guys who can do comedy, like Brian, like any of you guys, and all you male, female, actor, actress, and anyone. My theory is if you can do comedy, and I'm no actor, but so this is a layperson's theory, but if you can do comedy, you can do anything.
Dying is easy. Comedy is hard.
Yeah. But like with Brian, seeing Brian start off and. Well, I guess Brian started in soaps and stuff like that, I guess, but seeing him for years on Malcolm in the Middle, and then seeing him do very heavy, dark drama, it's no surprise to me. Of course, I worked with him years before Malcolm in the Middle on X-Files when he was actually played it very straight and very scary. So, but
I
comedy.
didn't know Brian started in soaps.
I think he did. Isn't that right, Betsy?
Yes, and
Did you ever do soaps?
No, I mean not really. Only in my life. Only at home.
Your life is a soap.
Only at home. I save the big drama for home.
That's right.
There's a lovely Anna Gunn. What
My
are
sister.
What do these two ladies like to direct, Mike?
A joy in every sense of the word. They were just great. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. I mean, I've directed before, but this was the most fun I've had directing. It was just
I was
great.
so glad that you were doing this episode, Michael, because I had some great stuff in it, and I was just, there's Mark Harley.
Yeah, I love this guy.
Me too.
He was great in Election. He was.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Matthew Broderick's teacher buddy, who was having the affair with Tracy Flick, and then.
I actually know him from theater. He does a lot of theater.
He's good. He plays. I don't know what it is he's doing here, but I mean, I know what it is. He's acting. He's a great actor, but he seems so much like. I've seen so many scenes in movies and TV where the doctor feels like a pill commercial doctor. This seems like every doctor I've actually had.
Vince, he came in so prepared. It was wonderful. I mean, he came in with all these offerings, and all we really had to do was choose from them.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then he gets to do a lot of good work in following scenes as well.
Yes, he does. I want to bring him back. I love his shoes coming up in this next scene too. He's got like a pair of sneakers on, and somehow it was just the right choice from Kathleen DeToro, our wonderful costume designer. It just like somehow you pictured black shoes on a doctor, except you only do that because I'm speaking for myself anyway, because you're picturing doctors you've seen, as I say, in TV and movies, and of course in real life they do wear sneakers because they're walking on their feet all day, and so it was the right touch. God is in the details, as they say, or the devil's in the details. Those are both good expressions, and getting the details right is very important to all of us.
And interesting, this is a reworking of our high school set as well, because of our expansive budget. Where everything has to multitask.
That's right. These are all indoor sets at Q Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And
beautiful studios.
Yeah. This lady did a nice job too.
I thought so too.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
No. When does he start physical therapy?
So George, what about anything about these scenes, writing wise?
Yeah, I mean, it's this scene here is all about, it's easy to write something and have people be screaming at the doctors that the insurance is not being covered, but it's all about what you do in reality and the sort of the subtle push and just the frustration these two ladies are feeling now because Hank is not getting full coverage on the insurance.
And Betsy, I love what you're doing here, because it's just trying to keep it together and actually keeping it together, and yet letting a little bit leak out, a little bit of this.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Was this hard? Was it harder or easier?
Sorry, see, this is where I'm like, I get sucked in watching the show. I'm just sitting over here in my mind.
Is it harder or easier doing the emotional stuff?
It's I don't know that I would say it's one or the other, but I got to tell you, I mean, with this, sometimes you have to fill in a lot of blanks and, do things like that when you're working, but not for us. And really, because of the writing, I just feel like my job is to kind of go in and not screw it up. So it's like I feel everything that I needed that day was there, and it's fun. It was so fun to work with Michael, and then I could have done this all day. I could have worked on this scene alone all day. I mean, it was just fantastic.
Unfortunately, we had an hour and a half to do this.
we were a little short on time.
Okay, now let's move on. Let's go.
We were a little short on time, but that happens. But I mean, I'm really, really happy with it.
Oh, that doesn't happen often, does it?
No.
That's a joke. Yes.
No.
But there's something good about that as well, which means that you have to come in prepared. You have to know where you're going to go, and then we decide and we do it and we move on, which is a wonderful way to work. And here we are with Hank again. Oh no, not really.
I love the way you did that, Michael. I love how you sold that switcheroo in the audience, because you're absolutely supposed to think that is Hank, and then of course it turns out to be the wonderful Bob Odenkirk.
I'd like to see a show about Saul Goodman, running a kind of daycare service. I think some sort of babysitting thing. I don't mean like quote unquote babysitting. I mean like actually with kids.
The only problem with Bob is that we laugh so much on the set. It just stops. He's so funny.
He's so damn funny. He's fearless too. I mean, he just. You ever seen that clip of him for Mr. Show? It was like a Mr. Show live show where he and David Cross were playing Radio City. I think it was Radio City Music Hall. He was naked on stage in front of a capacity crowd at Radio City Music Hall. Honest to God, he's fearless. I asked him, how do you do that? He says, well, I should when he gets here, I should ask him about that on one of these other commentaries, but it was just fearless. This is a real nail salon, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only, I mean, this speaks to what you were speaking about before, Vince. He's such a good actor that, yes, he's funny, but there is absolutely a reality to this guy that is vital to the show.
Yeah. It's he grounds this character very well. I mean, this is the thing. This is I'd be lying if I said we didn't want Saul Goodman's character to be funny, to make the audience laugh, at the proper moments, of course, but in general. And yet, you don't want any character, completely untethered from the other characters and playing a different show. You want the reality of Breaking Bad to always remain. So Bob stretches it without ever breaking it, which I think is
But I remember in the tone meeting, one of the notes that you gave was always remember that this guy, even though he's a character, is really good at what he does. Yes. And we always play to that.
And here he's given very sound advice about money laundering. This is Money Laundering 101.
Very clearly as well.
Hey, speaking of which, you're an attorney, George. How does Saul stack up in the world of lawyerdom, as far as you're concerned?
Well, he pushes the envelope quite a bit, but
this is based on this character's based on you, though. Do you want to talk about that?
There's a whole world out there of lawyers that sort of push the envelope, and there's bits and pieces, and these characters do exist. Rest assured. I'm confident in saying it's not the majority of lawyers that are this willing to bend the rules, but they do exist.
Did you ever come across anybody? You told us. What was it?
All the time.
You ever come across a couple guys like this?
You come across some crazy individuals. Yeah, definitely.
Bus bench guys.
Especially very aggressive sort of plaintiffs' attorneys that are, they see a deep pocket and they'll bend the rules to try to make some money for their client. And a lot of times they're just being aggressive and being good at what they do. But by the same token, there's rules, and sometimes the rules get there's gray areas there that they live in. They live in the gray areas. And Saul Goodman kind of lives in the gray areas, and sometimes goes beyond the gray areas.
I love this little slip he does right there. That's good.
And that was all Bob jumping out with his bare feet there.
That's right. He wanted to do that, and it worked out great.
That was great. These trucks, I love how our crew just makes it happen. These trucks, every one of these trucks had to be skinned with the Pollos Hermanos logo on the side. And you guys, Mike, you and the crew, and Mark Freeborn, a wonderful production designer, just moved heaven and earth to get as many of these trucks as possible. Because these things, you don't get these things for free. Everything we put on the screen costs money.
And we also we only skinned one side of each truck, so we could only shoot them going in one direction a piece, which was funny.
I didn't even know that. Smart.
Yeah. Oh, Mark is amazing.
Very
Mark is
smart.
just a genius.
He is. He's great.
I love this scene.
This is a great. You just directed the crap out of the scene, Michael. This is a great scene, and these two.
Yeah,
guys,
I dragged these two actors along with me. It was,
you carried them on your back a little bit.
Giancarlo, you know how difficult he can be.
Giancarlo Esposito here.
Oh.
God,
What a brilliant guy.
Oh man, just the best.
You know what it was, Vince? It was literally for all of us an honor to be in the room with these two guys working like this.
Yeah, these two guys just crush it. They're just great. And I remember that plate of. I'll remember this. This was a headache I gave you, and not on purpose, but that there's a plate in that wide shot. There it is again. There's a plate of crudité platter with like little carrots and whatnot, and I wanted a close up of it, and you very nicely got me a close up of it, and then I never used it.
We actually set it up in the studio about 3 weeks later. Yes.
I'm sorry about that.
Not at all. But this show was long, so anything that wasn't necessary to moving the story forward was going to go, I think.
Yeah, and I should say too, every episode, we've had very few episodes that were not long.
Because of this.
Because better long than short. You want to write just a tad long, and you want to direct just a tad long, so that you can cut down to the very best stuff and have it right down to time.
Well, also because you encourage directors to be filmmakers, which means more of a cinematic pacing rather than just cutting to dialogue.
Oh,
and this is a great example of that.
Thank you. And actually, some of the stuff we talked about earlier about the super lab and the hospital, that was all on a soundstage, in a soundstage set that was constructed. This, however, this really is where it appears to be. Out the window there is the real that closed down chicken facility we spoke of. And this is a construction trailer that was trucked to the site and just left out there for many months. And the nice folks who own this property basically charged us a monthly rental to leave it out there. But you actually shot this out out at this facility, which I love.
And in spite of the fact that wide shot looks like it's big, it is not a very big space.
How big is this space? I've never. I hate to admit it. I spend so much time at Burbank. I've never actually been to this particular set. How big is that trailer?
George, what like 18 by 18 or something?
That sounds
like
about
that,
right. Yeah,
16 by 16.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
So
with just one small window on each wall.
It's cozy.
And very warm.
Especially when you get the crew in there, and
And the other thing is, which is very interesting, it always rains whenever we go here for some reason. Every time we shoot interior, it pours rain on us.
Oh man. Is it? How does that? Is the roof all like tin or something? It makes it hell for the sound guys.
And then you're struggling.
Your windows are there's water outside the windows.
Exactly.
And it doesn't rain constantly, so it's not like you can play it like it's raining. It just the thunderclouds will come in. So
Gotcha.
You're shooting with the sun, and then all of a sudden there's rain. So it's hard to match.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And the crew, and what you don't see is 50 people standing around, and their park is in ankle deep in mud outside the window here.
Jesus, how many people are in here when you're shooting? Is everyone so sucked against the wall, out of frame, kind of thing, or how does that work?
I personally like to have as few people in there as possible. Yeah. So we actually had 2 cameras running all the time in here. Mm-hmm. So there's a camera operator for each camera, an assistant, and a second assistant, a boom person, and our continuity person, and that's it.
And you were in there too.
Yes, I always stand behind the camera.
It definitely takes some staging to make sure people are out of the frame, though.
Absolutely.
I feel like they both seem like they could kill each other with a toothpick.
I know.
This is a great sequence.
This is a great sequence. God, Brian
And
was good.
we fought to keep in the show.
Mike, you did a great job on this, creating the suspense.
This was
Brian
one of my
and,
favorite
the near
days ever
collision
on
and-
Breaking Bad.
This is a great scene. You really crushed this one, Michael. And speaking of what you just said a second ago, fought to keep it in the show in the sense of it is always a struggle. And Sony and AMC are wonderful to us. But as with any TV show or with any movie, you're always, no company, especially in this current economy, has infinite money to throw at anything. So money's always tight. And on our show, money's always tight because we're just hopelessly ambitious with this show. So what you're speaking of was the idea of cutting this scene to save a little dough. Is that correct?
Well, because we're always. Well, I'm gonna watch this here because I like it so much.
Damn. I love that.
We're always measuring screen time against our production day.
Right.
And this took an entire day to do.
Yes.
So normally we would be producing, 6 minutes of film.
Yeah.
Instead, we produced 90 seconds worth of film.
Yes. So economically, it's gets a little less feasible. I love that high and wide shot there too.
Again, same way. And also, kudos to Polly Matson, our assistant director, who made the other day's work
Hazards.
so that we could do this.
Yes, good point. Polly is a hell of an AD. She's the assistant director's job is to keep the production flowing, to keep things moving, to help the director make his or her days, make their schedule. And yeah, Polly is one of the best
She's
in the business.
beyond an AD. I don't even know what you call her, but you call her. Really, she's amazing.
A+D.
Oh, and she is so devoted to this show.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
loves the show.
She will defend it. Don't get in her way.
Yeah. Here's Jerry Burns again. I love the extras, by the way. I love
Me
these
too.
folks. They got. I loved what you got out of them here. And Michael, they're just they're so. They all seem like the real thing. I mean, these folks are not the real thing. They're extras. They're actors, but they did a nice job, and you directed them very nicely.
Well, we had long conversations, you and I, about what they should be, what the breakdown should be, the ages, the races, and all of this other stuff. And I think we hit a reality that is fairly accurate.
Absolutely true. So, I tell you, a tough thing to track was the damage to Jesse's face, because our show we keep it hyper serialized, and we. One episode starts where the previous one leaves off, and so I could say that Frida Valenzuela, who does our wonderful makeup, she and some other folks sort of in charge of making the makeup on all the
I
actors.
think the special effects, is that Georgia? I think Georgia
I'm sorry,
does,
Georgia. Yeah.
I think she does Jesse's bumps and
Yeah,
scrapes and
thank you for that.
swollen
Betsy.
eyes.
Yeah, Georgia's wonderful. She's
She's fantastic.
And Frida's sort of the head of the department, and then there's so many wonderful folks who like Georgia. Georgia does this work in particular, and you have to track it from episode to episode. So 2 or 3 episodes back, he's got a big swollen eye, and now it's later days, and it's just a couple of butterfly bandages and whatnot.
Which is incredibly difficult on our show in all respects because it moves at a slower pace than many shows. We may cover 1 or 2 days in an episode, whereas many shows may cover a month or 6 months or what have you. So
That's true.
So it's more work for
So
them,
it translates to everything with the weather, with wardrobe, with all the departments.
Yeah, that's true. Georgia, she's really good. They're all good. They're a great bunch of folks. This scene, I tell you, if there's any justice, Aaron Paul is going to be an enormous star after
I know it.
after all of this. He's so damn good. He's all you guys are so damn good.
And his heart is just so in it. I just love, you guys are so right on about the extras. I mean, they're actors, or this scene would not have worked.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we did was we came up with a different concept for shooting each of these scenes since they're in the same place. So if you notice in the previous scene, the camera was static and it was actually inside the circle. In this one, the camera is almost always moving and it's outside the circle looking in.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
I love that. It's subtle, and you don't. It's one of those things your brain picks up on a subconscious level.
it helps the story along.
Absolutely.
But it does not get in the way.
Absolutely. What are you on a dolly, just sort of trucking back and forth?
Yes, we're on a dolly. Actually, both cameras are on dollies, tracking back and forth behind people's heads. And the difficulty is making sure something like this, that we get the important lines and don't go behind someone's head when something important is being said. Like it's coming up right now.
I love that. I love gist.
George is like, it's all important. I wrote it. It's all important. Every single word is important.
There was a chunk of dialogue in this scene that George wrote that had to be cut for time. I mean, at a certain point, something's got to give. You got to cut something because it's the Procrustean bed of television. It's got to be exactly the length it's got to be. Not too long, not too short. But there was some bit of stuff here that I just hated cutting. Hopefully, it'll be on one of the discs that you guys have bought if you're listening to this, and it's I hope it'll be on there. But it's a little thing about Jesse's talking about the guy used to be
his teacher. Yeah.
His teacher was a Marine. His woodshop teacher was a Marine, and he was hard of hearing because he used to be in Vietnam, and he'd go down to the tunnels and shoot the little Viet Cong guys. So he was hard of hearing. I loved all that stuff. Yeah, that'd be cut for time.
That was fun.
That was good. Jerry Burns is great because
I know.
He's just not.
That's a beautiful shot.
That's
right
a beautiful.
there.
I love that shot.
And that's a kind of a shot that in our show is so important because we opt for expressive shots rather than just communicating, the dialogue or the story.
Yeah.
And so that's, that show really that scene really conveys what was happening during the scene.
Absolutely true. And I love how wide you guys. I love the wide, us going wide on these things. Just going. I tell you, here's our two lovely ladies again. I love what you do in the scene, Betsy. I love. You could have, like, a more obvious choice coming up here would have been to give it a little more, but you didn't. It's so subtle what you're doing here, and so wonderful. There's a little bit of curiosity, but we never lose sight of the fact that you never lose sight of the fact that your husband is in the hospital in really bad shape.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about this season. I feel like we've always seen, a love between Hank and Marie, but I think we really see what their marriage is made of and what they're both made of this season.
Absolutely. It's always hanging over this scene for Marie's character, and you're being polite here. And if Hank weren't in the hospital, there'd probably be more of a
more nosiness.
And more nosiness, but
Marie likes to know.
But this is so nicely attenuated. And she's just very tired here, and she's just very, I can't. It's almost like in another incarnation, she'd want to know what was going on here, but now it's just like I can't handle another crisis. I can't handle another.
I think really she's like I don't know. I don't
even
want to know.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see it all in your face. It's not in the dialogue. It's all in your face.
Oh, thank you.
As it is in Anna's face and in Christopher's face. Here, Christopher Cousins, great actor, really sweet guy, and an artist too, a visual artist, a painter, I believe. A very talented guy.
I'm so sorry.
And
his job in this scene is not an easy one. He does a great job.
It's true. And he's the interloper here in the marriage, and yet I have to say, me personally, I kind of feel sorry for him in this scene.
You do, and that's really hard to do. You know that he gets away with that.
Yeah,
this says a lot about Chris.
Yeah,
as an actor,
it's true. There's something sympathetic about him here. He's just what I love about all this stuff and you guys' ability to pull it off and make it real and make it live as actors is I kind of feel for both of them here. I mean, there's certain. It has nothing to do with Anna, but a certain feeling this season I get from I hear, anecdotally from some of the fans that they feel like that Skylar's character has been kind of rough on Walt, that she's cheating on him and she's being mean to him. And I'm thinking, my God, it's like, you see it any way you want. It's a free country, but I'm thinking, my God, Walter White has turned her life upside down when she cheats on her husband with this man. It's a desperate attempt to get out from under an insane situation that her husband's put her in. I actually feel for her.
But I think that's great that people look at it in different ways because it is gray, and it's not just this person, bad person, this character, good character, and hero, and I love that about it.
Yeah, and I love Walt too, but I mean, it's like it is. But I don't sympathize with most of his decisions. As you just said, Betsy, our show is a world of gray hats.
And then you find yourself as an audience member, looking at it, you're like, I can't believe I'm on this guy's side.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
He has killed people.
Exactly.
And I'm on his side.
Yeah. I love these two knuckleheads.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Booyah.
Skinny
I
Pete
like the
and
guy
Badger.
in the back.
Oh,
In a conversation with, God knows who.
I can't believe I never noticed that guy.
Neither have I.
I love
Yeah,
that guy. Looks like Jim Henson back there.
Okay, I did
Booyah.
not recognize Skinny Pete when I saw him at the rap party.
Oh, yeah?
I'm like, you're
Was he all
cleaned up and legit.
Wow.
You look like a guy.
Charles Baker, who plays Skinny Pete, is a wonderful young man who lives down in Texas. I think don't quote me on this. I think Austin, but he lives in Texas, and he's a father and a husband, I believe, and
Together guy.
And he's a together
That's Skinny
guy,
Pete.
and he's an editor. He edits. He was telling me at the rap party. He's an editor who currently has been working on a bunch of World War II documentaries. He's a smart guy, and but he is not Skinny Pete. No. Nor is Matt Jones Badger.
Right,
He's a very smart, very talented guy himself.
That's great.
I love those guys. I love that little bit there with the little bindi. You described it as a bindi dot.
Yeah, it's bindi is the thing that the Hindus use, and it's kind of like a sign of, I think, in a certain way, life. But like Walt is black in this scene.
I love that. It's a little, I don't know what that is, foreshadowing, or I don't know what that is, but I love it.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing of some of the episodes to come with his obsessions about things.
I love how our prop master, Mark Hansen, does such a good job. This stuff, I'm not even sure what we're using for our blue meth here, but it weighs exactly as much as it's supposed to weigh. These things
It's
really
rock
are.
candy.
Oh, is it rock
It's
candy?
blue rock candy.
Ah. And it weighs, these things really do weigh about 40 pounds a piece, just as they're supposed to, those individual.
And you get a sugar high every time you're around that.
Oh, do you?
Oh, it's hard.
You're not supposed to eat the props, Michael.
That's why we go through so much.
Yeah. Here's old Matt Jones.
This is one of my
this is
absolute
hilarious.
favorite scenes in the entire show.
Was this a fun one to shoot?
Well, yeah. I mean, these guys show up at this meeting, and
To
Jerry,
sell meth to the recovering addicts.
that's
Yeah.
their purpose.
What rascals. I love these guys.
It's their fish tank.
So giving them each a proper introduction was an important function.
We're gonna
here.
get Skinny Pete here. He raises his hand. Right?
I love the way you do. I love this handoff you do here. This rack focus handoff. Because if you're looking, you can think, is that who I think? Ah, it is who I think it is. I love it.
Sorry, I didn't raise
I didn't raise my hand, yo.
These
guy.
two
How
together
handsome
are
Matt
so
looks.
much fun.
Yeah.
bro. I wish I never.
And
even
they're the kind of actors. I mean, they bring so much, and what you really have to do is, George, right, is edit it back and bring it back. They just come with this smorgasbord of ideas, and
Yeah, exactly.
That's the shame of it.
I love all the
but
reactions.
here they get to be real.
I love
Here
all
they
these-
have to blend in, which is really an interesting idea.
That's true. They're not hitting it too hard. They're playing it, and actually they play it on a meta level here. They are acting. They are.
Right, they have the difficult task of playing it so that we know that they're acting,
Yeah.
but they're trying to play it real
Exactly.
and believable at the same time.
Yeah. And this leads us to the last sequence of the episode,
And
which
this
is
beautiful shot that's coming. This is just what an
Oh.
expressive.
speaking of shots, and of course you're framing all this stuff as directors do, and with the help of your DP. So you are our director of photography, and you do a wonderful job. But of course, on this episode, you are directing, and so who is shooting? Oh, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say, Betsy?
Oh, no. I was just thinking about Peter. That's foreshadowing. Write that down, George. Foreshadowing.
One of our camera operators, our B camera operator, Peter Rainiers, took over the helm. Peter also does all of our additional photography and second unit photography. And when took over as a director, Peter stepped in and shot the episode and did a great job.
He did. I love Peter.
Me too.
You guys call him the Dutchman? Is that,
It's self-proclaimed.
it's over here.
And and we continue in the same kind of relationship in a lot of the shows that we do.
He's very talented. I love Peter.
And this scene is just
I love this scene.
a tour de
too.
force by all three actors, but Anna just drives this thing.
Marie should know the truth.
Skylar, I
The big lie.
don't think this is a good idea.
To everybody's surprise, though. And Brian does it so well. This, like that's what the show's
I know.
about, right there.
I love
That shot.
He's saying, shut up now.
And then the
further.
turn of what is she
Right.
talking about? What gambling? What?
There's one moment coming up where they both lean forward to try to hear better.
Yeah.
That is just
Yeah.
so funny.
It's just great.
I remember we did that in rehearsal.
Walt was diagnosed at
I love what you're doing here, Betsy. I love what all three of you are doing. Anna does a great job. All three of you guys are so.
It's just such a fun scene to shoot. And it's great because, I mean, then, for me, I feel like you really see what Marie thinks about both of them and their relationship. I cannot believe Walt. I have a whole new respect for Walt.
Yeah.
nothing.
And yet,
A journalist asked me, if they thought that, if I thought that Marie actually believes the gambling story. I said, of course she does. Because why wouldn't she? I mean,
I agree.
why would they lie about that?
Right. Because it's a warts and all story that does not make them look
Because I
good.
can guarantee you that she doesn't think, you know what, that's probably not true. I bet he's cooking meth. Because,
Yeah. No, I agree with your assessment of that because there's a lot going on here. One of the things, just many things you can mention off the top of my head. One of them is that this is something of a passing of the torch of Walter White being the world's greatest liar
yeah.
over to Skylar, his wife. This is a hellaciously detailed and essentially bulletproof story that she's
and it
telling.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And everything else makes sense
Yeah.
because of this. Nice work, George.
Yeah. Peter Gould and George did such a good job on this whole episode. Great writing from both of you guys.
And the other thing about her lying, and even with the crudité in the scene with Giancarlo and Brian, it's the details.
Yeah.
Because in the crudité we see when Giancarlo has Brian over for dinner and what a host he is,
Yeah.
and it tracks all the way through.
Yeah.
Skylar lies in the pilot, right? Is that when she says
Yes.
I mailed
yeah.
that. I
You're
mailed
right.
that check.
This is a good point.
This is not out of
You're
it doesn't
right.
come out of nowhere.
She did, and she lies very well, very
Like it's nothing, just-
very. She's doing it for a good reason. They, they don't want to be put out and have their lights turned off. But back in the pilot, it's
Which is a good point because this has really been seeded in. There was another point in the first season where she lies to get out of a shoplifting
go.
thing
Yep.
that you set her up with.
I don't know what you're
So
talking
it's
about.
it's not coming out of left field. It's
that was that lean in you were talking
Exactly.
about. Yeah.
I just love, and it's a great example of what our show does, which is, even though Anna is doing an unbelievable job here and just driving this scene, so much of the scene is about the reactions of the other characters in it.
Yeah.
It really, without that, it would not be as strong a scene as it is, which is an amazingly wonderful scene.
Really well done. How long did you guys have to shoot this? How long was this scene shot for?
This was this was about a half of a day when we received rewrites, I believe, the night before.
Yes.
And
Oh, God, yeah.
yes.
It
Oh,
went
yeah.
from a 7-page scene to a 10-page
Oh,
scene
Jesus,
overnight.
that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. On behalf of all of us writers, I apologize. Writers
The
everywhere.
momentum was there, and we were moving forward.
So all of this great stuff was done not in a whole day, but in half a day.
a half a
I'm
day,
impressed.
Yeah.
I know how fast you guys get this done. That's no news to me. But
And it's also not the kind of scene that you can ask actors to do that many times.
yes,
So a shot like this, we would ask Anna to hold back a little bit because it's so emotional on her part.
right.
So when we're shooting over her shoulder, like this shot right here, maybe she's not working it as hard, or we're not trying as many variables as we normally would.
And you ask an actor and actress to hold back a little.
That's hard.
I would think it is, but
Sometimes I can't do it.
well, but I guess the theory it's the theory being that all of you guys are always willing to give 110%, but just want to have something left for the.
Right, and sometimes you don't want to miss the magic. And then the other times you extend the courtesy of saying, Betsy, would you like us, if you have a long monologue, would you like us to shoot the other person first so we let it settle in, or would you like to go first and and worry about it later?
That's a good point. In this scene, there's acting every microsecond going on from all three actors, but the bulk of the words are coming out of Anna's mouth. So how do you, what do you do? Do you say, Anna, do you want to go first? Do you want to work up to it, or what do you usually do? Or what did you do here, I guess?
I don't remember. I know that I would ask.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
I think we actually worked our way from behind her to let the scene settle in and work up slowly.
Gotcha.
And then by the time we got there, we were able to select from some of the variables that she did, over her back. And I would say, I like this part, I like that part, I like this part, and let's put all those together into one take.
Gotcha.
But we didn't do it that many times. I mean, we spent, Betsy, we spent a lot of time rehearsing this. That I remember.
Yeah, we did do a lot of rehearsal for this, which I think was really, really great.
Yeah, and I think we probably spent an hour,
especially
hour
because
and a
they were
half.
new pages, and you want to be able to really have it in your bones before you start shooting.
And we wanted it right, and we knew how important this scene was to the season, to the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just the
And
episode, but the season.
Very specific.
Yes.
Very,
We knew, and we wanted it to be right. We were entrusted with it, and we wanted it to be perfect.
And you got it. You all three, all four, all 5, 6, counting the 2 writers, all got it. Great job. And
It was so fun
the
to work
DP.
on.
Great group effort.
Look
Yay-
at that. Look
yay.
at that. That's the show right there.
I'll tell you.
Because also, there's that moment in that scene where Brian takes, Walt takes some credit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Well, mixed feelings there. Well, guys, this was a fun one. Great job, Michael. You did just a wonderful DP and also a wonderful director. Like you said, this wasn't your first time directing, but first time for us anyway, and you did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.